Hey, what's up, Closer fam? You guys know who it is. Now, this what if is actually part 2 to a collaboration with SmugStick, so be sure to go to his channel and check out part 1. Leave a like and subscribe while you're there. And as such, there won't be any recap here, so we return to this story now. Having been kicked off Kami's lookout, and now with the son of King Piccolo to look after, Goku prepares to face his biggest challenge yet. At first, attempting to raise Jr. wasn't very easy. Jr. was pretty much self-sufficient off the jumping point already being able to walk and talk and utilize ki if you go by the anime's filler sections. We also know that canonically he had memories from his father. So in this timeline where King Piccolo came to be fond of Goku, it would make Jr. very conflicted. Goku was someone his father accepted, but he was also his father's downfall. At first, he is only willing to listen to Goku simply because he is stronger than him, and he hopes to surpass him through his training. And with nowhere to really live and having recently been kicked from the lookout, Goku is very happy to receive an invitation to live with his friend Upa and his father Bora. Both are very grateful to Goku, and the area was still very comfortable to Ader and Goku, so this would be where Ader, Goku, and Jr. decide to live. And in some small part, Goku decides to live so close to Kami to irritate him a bit. Their relationship is very strained at the moment. Speaking of, up with the lookout, Kami is actually training to one day destroy Jr. in Goku's stead. All the while, Mr. Popo and Kami have completely stopped speaking to one another. Their relationship is also extremely strained right now. Remember, in this timeline, Mr. Popo has really come to see Goku as his own son. On his own for his training, Kami would go so far as to even attempt to use the room of sparing time. But as he is still canonically weaker than a Goku who could only spend a month in the room, I don't think he has much success at first. When not training, Goku, Ader, and reluctantly Piccolo would ride around the world on Goku's carpet. Their mission was always to find good that can be done and people that can be helped. And with each of these outings, Piccolo is shown more and more of the beauty and the freedom of the world, the goodness of man as well as the evil of man, and retaught the same lesson that Goku had taught his father. No one is completely evil. Sentience just didn't work that way. Slowly but surely, Piccolo Jr. begins to resonate with Goku's philosophy. He can still be a bit rough during training sometimes, but it's clear to Goku the spawn of evil is anything but two-dimensional. Goku also isn't trying to force Piccolo to do his bidding or anything. He really treats him like his own person and treats him with respect even while he is young. And if you think about it, this would kind of be a reverse of what Piccolo and Gohan have. Here, Piccolo is being trained by his father's killer, who he is realizing is way more than just some evil scary monster that should be treated like an opponent. In the blink of an eye, 3 years pass, and of course the duo of Goku and Piccolo have gotten stronger through endless training. Goku had already been the strongest being on the planet, and now he could train with the second strongest being at any time he wanted to, and as hard as he wanted to. Both would grow a lot this time. In fact, Piccolo would now be fully grown, while Goku is now 17 years of age. And by this point, he'd be a more worldly and socially intelligent version of Goku. Our next significant event happens one day while in West City. The trio of heroes are helping out local firefighters and rescuing civilians from a burning building. Being careful to not use their full strength, lest they mess something up, Goku and Piccolo are just escaping the blaze with those they rescue before they both feel a very large ki appear. There was Kami, the old god having a very unamused and angry look on his face. He looks to Jr. and then to Goku and Ader. He then asks them both to step aside while he does his job. Sensing the fruit of Kami's training and compared it to Piccolo, Goku is a bit nervous. Piccolo was stronger, but the fight could be close. Respecting Piccolo as an adult though, but this fight wasn't about Goku. So, respecting Piccolo, Goku asked for him to please not kill, even though he and Kami weren't considered mortals. Outside of that, he had free reign to do whatever he wanted. Jr. would grimace at the request, but decides to honor his teacher and friend. He then asks Kami to follow him to a more suitable place to do battle. Finally, the fire would be put out, and with it out, Ader looks worriedly in the direction Piccolo had flown off in and asks Goku what they should do. The answer was one that Popo would have been very proud of, as Goku sat on the ground and began to meditate to calm his spirit and focus his mind to feel the key of the battle as sharply as possible. Meanwhile, in the mountains, Kami and Piccolo clash hard. There were deep emotions wrapped up in this battle, hatred on both sides. It was clear that neither was holding anything back. They were close enough and powered that it resulted in a long and arduous battle. Every punch countered, every kick parried, every ki blast nullified. So in a fight like this, it just comes down to stamina, which Piccolo just has more of because he is younger. That said, Kami has experience and probably preparation. If Piccolo would dodge an attack, he'd miss that Kami had actually aimed for something in the terrain that would harm or distract him, blasting dust and sand into his eyes, toppling an entire mountain arm, and other crafty tricks. But finally, the two come to the last legs of their stamina. Sick of the games, Kami charges a large ki blast, while Piccolo does the same. His ki begins to grow larger and larger, until it's clear to both of them that the winner of the clash will be Piccolo. The two stare at each other, their attacks fully charged and ready to fire, and then Piccolo allows his to dissipate. He stands and prepares to fly away, calling Kami little more than a bitter old man and far from a god. Enraged, the Elder releases his large ki blast towards Piccolo, who is fully unguarded. Like at the end of the 23rd tournament, Kami is truly willing to sacrifice himself to get rid of Piccolo's evil, or what he perceives to be Piccolo's evil. Turning around, Piccolo realizes the blast is mere inches away and his eyes widen fearfully as he attempts to dodge. But he doesn't quite get away in time and is grazed by the attack before it detonates. As both of their ki had dropped, Kami peers through the smoke to hopefully see Piccolo in critical condition. But what he would actually see is Piccolo's angry face rushing through the smoke. Junior then grabs Kami by his neck with the arm he hadn't lost in the blast and drags Kami along the rocky ground and then drives him into a mountainside. His hand is around the old man's neck and he is truly willing to snap it, and end both their lives. But he was better than that. He does, however, unload a few more good gut shots just to drive the message home. With that done, he is once again willing to show mercy and knows that Kami won't be getting up for a while. Piccolo, injured, flies back to the city. There, Goku only breaks his meditation when he feels Piccolo has returned and praises the heavily injured demon, who nods his thanks and smiles. Hours later, after resting for a bit, Kami will return to the lookout, and for the first time in 3 years, Mr. Popo actually speaks to him. He asks him what had happened. Did he fight Goku? Is Goku okay? Tiredly, Kami simply sighs and relents. He tells Popo he may go and see Goku anytime he likes, if he's so worried about it. And the genie does so quickly. And with this done, no real major events happen for a while, as time begins to pass quickly and Earth enjoys peace for a very long time, as it has been. And Goku and his friends in this timeline still do their usual thing. But in age 761, 6 years after the battle of Kami and Piccolo, a massive ki would be felt heading towards the land of Corinth. Curious of who and what this evil power belongs to, Goku and Piccolo climb onto the carpet and get ready to go intercept it. Ader attempts to join them, but the two warn that this foe is far above maybe even them. He would only be hurt here. They say goodbye and begin moving towards the ki nearly instantly. They then cut the long-haired invader off in his tracks. They first ask him who he was and where he came from, and the warrior reveals his name to be Raddatz, and shows his own tail. He then speaks of his familiar bond with Goku, who is sent reeling. Then, once Raddatz makes his demand that Goku come and join him for conquest, Goku and Piccolo order him to leave the planet. But neither are stronger than Raddatz at this time, at the most in the low 700 range, meaning he won't heed the warning. With nothing left to say, the three break into battle, which would be very similar to their fight in canon due to the power difference. The major change here is that Goku and Piccolo do marginally better and work as a tag team very well, but Raddatz is just overwhelming. And because this fight is going so similar, and because Goku would know the weakness of his tail, he sees it as an underhanded tactic, but he tells Piccolo his current plan and the two rush the Saiyan. Piccolo takes the hits meant for both of them and is sent flying away, as Goku veers to get behind Raddatz and grabs hold of his tail. Like in canon, Raddatz would still be susceptible to this, so with Raddatz weakened, Goku charges the ki blast and aims it at Raddatz's back. Truthfully, he had no intention of killing his brother, but Raddatz didn't need to know that, and he once again makes his same threat. The older brother begs for his life pitifully, and remember, Goku is even more virtuous in this timeline than he was in canon. And remember, Goku still holds his ideal that mortals just should not kill mortals, so he immediately shows Raddatz mercy, acknowledging that from now on he should do the same and change his ways for the better. As soon as his tail is released, Raddatz turns and begins to beat down on Goku, raining a hail of punches and kicks down mercilessly. He'd be even more fed up with this version of Goku than he was with the canon version of Goku, because he is kind of spouting off this preachy kind of goody two-shoes rhetoric. That's just super insane-like, and it's pissing Raddatz off. Coming off a big hit and pretty far away, Piccolo isn't too close and he attempts to rush in to help, but he's surprised when a familiar voice yells out. Ader, having caught up to the fight on foot and incredibly angry seeing Goku hurt like that, rushes towards Raddatz, who simply scoffs and aims a small ki blast towards the mechanical man. In the next instant, a hole is blown in Ader and his body crumples from the force and the heat of the blast, leaving his head the only thing still intact. Raddatz laughs triumphantly as Goku begins to shake with anger. Ader had always been the kindest soul he knew, and he was artificial, and after he'd shown Raddatz such mercy, he betrayed him. In this timeline, because of his upbringing, I think it'd be extremely easy for Goku to feel that righteous anger, which led to some of the most iconic moments in the series. Now, he still isn't strong enough, and even though he's grown up in a safe environment with an incredibly pure heart, he still wouldn't have the number of S cells needed for Super Saiyan. He can still definitely get a temporary rage boost pretty easily. He pounces on Raddatz and repackages the rain of hateful blows his brother had given him, returning them tenfold. He was only really able to stop when he felt himself about to take Raddatz's life. His fear would then slowly fade as that realization came, but at this point everyone was too broken of body to do any more fighting. Shuddering in pain, Raddatz reaches into his armor to retrieve a remote and call his spaceship to his location. Climbing in it, he tells Goku that he'll soon return with two warriors more powerful than him, and blasts off into space. A while later, Piccolo would heal enough to go to the land of Corn and up to Corn's tower and retrieve a couple of sensu beans. Goku eats one once it is brought back, and his first priority is to try and help Aiden. But with he and Kami on bad terms, his only hope being an earthly mechanic, and since he only knows one, he seeks out the creator of the Dragon Ball radar. With this their best course of action, Goku and Piccolo travel to West City to hopefully get Ader fixed. Meanwhile in space, Raddatz tries to contact Vegeta through his damaged yet still functioning scouter. The Saiyan Prince is enraged at his subordinate's failure. He even calls Raddatz a worthless disgrace to the Saiyan race. Vegeta tells Raddatz that he is finally fed up with him. He orders him to not return to the company and tells them when he does see him, he'll destroy him himself. Fearfully, Raddatz destroys his scouter and re-enters the coordinates in his pod to return to the Earth. At Capsule Corp, Bulma agrees to repair Ader if Goku goes out on a date with her. She would likely still view him as pretty attractive, and I don't see her and Yamcha ever getting together in this timeline, at least not staying together. Not really sure what the implications of a date are, Goku agrees, but soon he and Piccolo can feel Raddatz returning to the Earth. But somehow after being fully healed, Goku had gotten way stronger, and Raddatz's power didn't seem to increase at all. The two wait for the Saiyan to land and climb back onto Goku's carpet to go and fight him once again. If this would keep happening, they'd have to find a way to imprison him, and Piccolo even considers them a Fuba. They arrive and notice that Raddatz is still inside his spaceship, so they wait. They notice that it's taking a very long time for him to come out, and then Goku notices that his ki is actually getting weaker by the second. They then break the pod open and find Raddatz is passed out and in critical condition. Confused, they decide that it's best to interrogate him. So they grab him and fly back to their home base in the land of Corn, and tend to his injuries somewhat, and then once he wakes up, they plan to ask him questions. Later when Raddatz does regain consciousness, he instantly panics and goes into hysterics. Goku attempts to calm him down and get him to walk him through the situation and explain what's going on, even showing him a small breathing technique he used in meditation to center himself. Once calmed, Raddatz walks Goku and Piccolo through the situation, and explains that there aren't many places he could go where Vegeta wouldn't find him due to scouters and word of mouth around the universe. So his hope was, if Kakarot could grow strong enough to battle against a Saiyan of his level when he was born so weak, then why couldn't he? He'd also noticed that Kakarot had already been healed fully and gained a Zenkai from it, so maybe they could abuse that and get stronger. Raddatz's only priority right now is survival. All this news disturbs Goku and Piccolo for several reasons. First, foes stronger than Raddatz were bad enough, but also because they'd be on Earth in only a year, and the fact that the two had very meager training grounds, and a grand total of 3 warriors was also a big issue. But then, shocking him to his core, Goku hears a voice that he hadn't heard in 6 years, and one that he hadn't been on good terms with for nearly 9. It sounds out loud and familiar in his head. It was Kami. The old god invites Goku and Piccolo back to the lookout, even telling them to bring the defeated Saiyan with them. Both confused and surprised, Goku and Piccolo put Raddatz's injured body on the carpet, and they travel up to the lookout nearly instantly. Immediately, Goku is hit with loads of nostalgia, having not been home in nearly a decade. Kami and Popo would soon walk out of the palace, one with a very grim look, and the other happy to see Goku back home. Kami then looks to and addresses Goku, and with little preparation, reveals that he knows of the coming threat. In fact, ever since Goku had been a baby, he'd feared whatever caused the boy's parents to send him to this planet could someday become a threat. But sadly, it was Goku's own race that had become a threat. But even so, he was turning over godhood of the Earth to Goku. He'd long ago proven that he was much more qualified for the role. The day had been a day of shock for Goku, and this one registered as the second largest, the first being told that he was an alien. Now in charge, Goku somewhat blanks on what to do next, but after a bit of thinking decides the next best step is to get more info from Raddatz on their opponents. But that will be difficult since Raddatz is still injured. Grunting and struggling to speak in his condition, Raddatz is able to mention that one of their opponents was nearly 7 times stronger than him, and the other one known as Vegeta was 15 times stronger. And finally, the two had access to multiple creatures that were embarrassingly as strong as he was. Thinking on this, Goku decides the first order of business then needs to be gathering other forces. Opponents just as strong and even stronger than Raddatz ganging up on them would be rough. Because of this, Goku begins filling the Earth for the largest he can find, and finally comes across 3 that are at least strong compared to normal humans and average martial artists. For the umpteenth time, he gets on his carpet and declares that he'll return a bit with their recruits before zooming away. He would then arrive to the dojo of the Crane Hermit, where mercenary Tao was taking up leadership of the school. After losing to Goku yet being spared by him, there's no doubt that Tao would have been training very hard to improve. And considering he was already much stronger than Master Roshi with little motivation to train, he'd really easily be in a totally different league now. He obviously had a lot of potential. And because of this, Tao's students Chaozu and Ten Shinhan would also be stronger. Now, seeing Goku appear before them, Tao questioned the man on who he is, and even fires a Dodonpa at Goku only for the attack to be battered away easily. The man's power and hairstyle finally jogged Tao's memory, and he recognizes Goku as the boy who spared him in battle. Because of this, he growls and orders Ten and Chaozu to stand down and asks Goku what his intentions are. The Earth's new guardian gets serious and takes some time to explain to the assassins the current situation, making the 3 tremble at the thought of 3 alien invaders that strong. With that communicated, Goku would then ask him to join him in training for the alien threat, and hopefully, they can prepare enough to stop it. Since the world would be destroyed if Goku failed on his own, and the training could only be beneficial to the 3 assassins, they decide to accept Goku's offer, but make it very clear that they won't be sparing lives here. Grimly, Goku decides to accept this nonetheless, as the Earth was in a desperate state right now. Quick note, but as for why the Turtle School isn't approached, well, it's likely that no one would have been much stronger than the 21st World Tournament version of Jackie Chun. Since Master Roshi doesn't fight Goku in the 21st Tournament or see how strong he gets by the end of the Red Ribbon arc, he never does any extra training. Krillin would likely be the only other person to seek him out for training later on, and Grandpa Gohan would never get to go train in the afterlife since he was definitely stronger than when he died in the Baba arc. So this means that Tao and Tim would be the next top dogs after Goku and Piccolo, and maybe Yajirobe after them, but I doubt he'd be doing much training. Moments later, the newly formed Z Fighters all arrive onto the lookout, where Raddatz has been given a Senzu Bean and made a set of new Saiyan armor by Kami. He's once again stronger than Goku, but as attacking his only ally now would just make him live in solitude until Vegeta found him and killed him, he decides to stick to the idea of training. Once everyone is acquainted, Goku divvies out orders. Piccolo, Kami, and Popo would handle training the assassins. Their job was to make them as strong as possible, while Goku and Raddatz went off into the wilderness to train together for the year. Their goal is to maximize their power through rough, constant sparring. As for the actual training, it would likely go as one expects. It's hard for Kami and Piccolo to get along, and lots of the time, Tao's arrogance is a big part of training, but other than that, things are moving along relatively smoothly. Also during this time, Age Trip appears to be completed by Capsule Corp, and the Genius Bone would also realize she had no idea where Goku had gone. Because of this, she would do her best to install some form of power detection inside of Ader to find him, in the process making the android a bit more durable and sturdy. Using this, Bulma and Ader are able to find Goku and Raddatz, and this allows Ader to be reunited with his friend. But Goku warns that for now, he has very little free time to spare. But if they survive this fight, then he'd come find Bulma and make good on his promise. Angry but placated, Bulma leaves Raddatz and Goku to their training, while Ader decides to stay with them and read their power levels every few months to see how they're growing. Finally, an entire year passes. On the lookout, Piccolo would reach a power level of around 4200, while Tao would grow to around 2600 and Ten Shinhan 2800, while Chaozu made it to around 1400. And even though he is stronger than in canon, Piccolo tells Kami to stay out of the battle as he would just be in the way. At the top of the food chain, Raddatz reaches up to 6000, and Goku, having more potential than his brother, reaches to 7500. While neither of them are strong enough to take on Vegeta, their hope is that the entire group can gang up on him at some point. Even worse, the struggle that Goku had to control Great Ape was shared by his brother, and so if they both were to transform, it's possible that Raddatz would end up being a danger to everyone, not just their enemies. But with a solid plan set, the Saiyan brothers and Ader travel back to the lookout to rest and await the Saiyan arrival with the others. Seeing the large amount of tension between the Earth's warriors, Goku attempts to rally them together through words. He announces that he knew everyone didn't like each other, and at one point everyone here had been seen as nothing but evil. And though Goku had never spent much time with Ten Shinhan or Chaozu, he could tell that they were much more than just pure evil. Everyone there had to an extent taken up the defense of the Earth. They were all carrying the fate of this planet together, and he respected anyone that was willingly taking that burden. The tension was still there, but it seemed that everyone is at least more in sync now. With that done, at the same time, date, and place, Vegeta and Nappa arrive onto Earth, and as soon as they do, Goku and Raddatz, knowing themselves to be the main targets, climb onto Goku's carpet and appear in front of them in a split second before Nappa can destroy the city. Goku grabs the larger Saiyan's arm and roughly squeezes it, bringing the brute to his knees. He tells the two if they want to fight, don't waste time with the defenseless. Use their scouters and track them to an area they've chosen to fight. They then flee back to the other Z Fighters. Angry and nursing his hand, Nappa nearly uses his volcano explosion, while Vegeta is already flying and ordering Nappa to come along. This has become much more interesting than aimless destruction. At their speed, it wouldn't take Vegeta and Nappa long to travel to the same mountain range Piccolo and Kami battled in, and find Goku and his warriors waiting for them. Instantly, they notice that Raddatz has gotten a bit stronger, but they wouldn't be aware that Earthlings can raise their powers since Goku and Piccolo never did so against Raddatz. And even here, Goku and Raddatz are holding a lot of their true power back. Because of this, arrogantly, Nappa decides to plant 6 Cybermen and sick them on Raddatz, but the long-haired Saiyan refuses to fight something so weak and declares the humans will handle them. Not believing the claim, Nappa orders a single green creature to attack Raddatz, but he merely glares at it. This allows his eyes to glow with a quick flash of high-intensity ki, and the Cyberman is instantly blown to pieces. Even Vegeta is shocked about this. Raddatz had to be at least twice as strong as he was to do something like that. So considering that and Kakarot overpowering Nappa, he comes to the conclusion that their scouters aren't going to be much help here, and that Kakarot and Raddatz have both grown stronger and aren't showing their full power. Nappa is at the very least impressed and decides to play Raddatz's game, ordering the remaining 5 creatures to attack the humans, while the Saiyans and single Namekian would watch the fight. And yes, because of Raddatz, they would all know the term Namekian already. It wasn't very hard for Tao and his students to take on the less intelligent creatures, and easily dominate them in power and tactics. Soon there are little bits of little green men all across the battlefield. But Vegeta scoffs at this, noticing the numbers advantage the Earthlings now held. He orders Nappa to have his fun, and as the big brute is just about to pick his first victim, Vegeta blitzes forward and literally drives his knee through Chaozu, leaving him in a similar state as a Cyberman. Then, Ten Shinhan's angry yell is nearly silenced by Vegeta taking the three-eyed man's head off, but this time, Piccolo appears and catches the arm. Because Vegeta isn't using full strength, he's easily pushed away. Meanwhile, Nappa finally makes his attack, going after Kakarot for intervening earlier. But this time, Raddatz is the one to intervene by kicking Nappa in the head from the side. He announces that he'll handle the big guy since he has a lot of getting even to do. Meanwhile, it'd take everyone else to even take on Vegeta. Everyone is fine with this plan and they fly into battle. Vegeta is happy to play with and overpower the Earthlings, including Goku and Piccolo. At the moment, teamwork was barely keeping everyone alive, much less winning, while Raddatz isn't allowing Nappa the time to fully power up, allowing him to dominate that fight. You can all imagine how these events will be playing out until Goku finally realizes that he has to use his trump card. If he doesn't, then Vegeta will kill them all. He asks for Piccolo and his group to do the best they can and declares he'll be right back. He then jumps on his carpet and uses it to transport himself high enough to see the moon while still in broad daylight. The Great Ape transformation starts and Goku dives off the carpet, free falling towards the battle and Vegeta as he gets bigger and stronger. Those who could sense Ki instantly feel the 10 times spike in power, and Piccolo orders everyone to clear away from Vegeta. Guessing there must be a Ki blast coming, Vegeta begins to charge up his Gallic gun to try and counter it. But instead, Great Ape Goku, in a gi that still fits, breaks through the clouds and snarls as he speeds up to try and ram into Vegeta. Actually surprised, Vegeta tries to jump away and dodge, but using his head, Goku is able to flip and swat Vegeta right back down with his tail before landing on his feet. With that one blow, Vegeta is driven hard into the ground and his body makes a huge crater as it is already broken and in bad shape. He sees Goku is about to charge and notices the smaller fighters flanking him and ready to back him up. Knowing another big hit like that would end him, he has to resort to his own transformation. Instantly he creates a power ball and throws it up to burst open and mix, making eye contact with it just as Goku reaches him and begins to beat down on him as his own body begins to transform. But like in canon, as we see with Gohan's transformation, it seems like the power multiplier begins happening immediately because blows just stop working pretty much, or at the very least it begins increasing very quickly. With his transformation complete, Vegeta counters and plants both his feet in Goku's chest, knocking him far back. Realizing what Vegeta had done, Raddatz finally finishes off Nappa to keep him from transforming as well. He yells up to Kakarot to see what their plan was, while avoiding looking at the power ball himself. Vegeta is too powerful like this, and he can't control his own Great Ape form. Reeling as he tries to avoid Vegeta, Goku in desperation tells Raddatz to transform and do his best to aim at Vegeta. Meanwhile, he telepathically tells Piccolo and the assassins to do their best and try and cut off Vegeta's tail. So with new orders, everyone tries to do what they can, but Vegeta has experience fighting smaller fighters, and he is still over twice as strong as Goku. And after his transformation, Raddatz had become just a rabid ball of fury, attacking both Great Apes, and in the process, he was doing much more damage to Goku than Vegeta. While trying to blast it off, Piccolo and the assassins are swatted by Vegeta's tail, and the situation begins to look hopeless. Tao, gritting his teeth, yells to Goku that he expects proper compensation for what he's about to do. He flies forward and allows himself to be hit by Vegeta's tail, only to grab onto it and take the damage. Hacking up blood, he begins to charge his ki up inside his body, preparing for a self-destructive attack. To his surprise, his loyal student Ten Shinhan flies forward and latches on right alongside him. The two nod to each other and detonate themselves on the base of Vegeta's tail, though sadly, all they were able to do was singe a bit of fur. Once again made angry, Vegeta drives Goku and Raddatz back with two well-placed uppercuts. This hit was actually strong enough to knock Raddatz out cold and force Goku back to his human form, as Piccolo flies over to them, the last of their battle force. Vegeta stalks towards them slowly, laughing evilly as he is once again in full control here. He stands over the three, blocking out the sun and the power ball. He lifts a hand to crush them, and before he can, the sound of a ki blast is heard, and one literally flies through the beast's forehead. The power ball fades as Vegeta limply falls to the ground, dead. Confused, Piccolo and Goku look at each other. They hadn't sensed any ki, and neither of them did that. And then a voice calls out, claiming itself to be the culprit. Following the voice, they look up a mountaintop and see an old man with long gray hair. He was wearing the symbol of the Red Ribbon Army. Behind him were tons of Red Ribbon troops, and the scary part was, none of them had sensible ki. You see, in this timeline, because of all the sympathizers that Gero had after the Red Ribbon Army was taken down, the scientist was able to maximize time and efficiency. He wasn't just in some dingy cave by himself working. Instead, he had all the money and manpower of an army behind him. Dr. Gero introduces himself as the new leader of the Red Ribbon Army, and gives the usual villain backstory, with mention of the surveillance drones as Goku and Piccolo realize something. Though they can't sense Gero's power, they can do simple deduction. If he could easily kill Vegeta in Great Ape form with one shot, then he was an opponent they did not want to fight, especially not in their current states. In a cold sweat, Piccolo fearfully yells into Goku's mind to get them on the carpet and get them out of there while they still can, while Gero orders his soldiers to open fire. Since their ki is unreadable, neither fighter could tell how strong each soldier was, but judging by Gero, they weren't going to be weak by any means. And so, doing their best to dodge, the fighters grab Raddatz and rush to get to the carpet. Inches from a clean getaway and seeing a stray blast heading towards Goku as he carries his downed brother, Piccolo doesn't hesitate and shoves him out of the way, letting the blast fly through his chest and leave a huge hole in it. There is no time for a goodbye or a farewell, just a pained smile on Piccolo's face as his eyes gloss over and he finishes pushing Goku onto the carpet. Realizing there's nothing more he can do, Goku sadly transports them back to the lookout. There, Ader and Mr. Popo rush to the two with the final sense of being they had and split between them. Goku seemed to be in shock, keeping an empty look on his face while looking extremely angry. He even speaks about going back to go down fighting, but Mr. Popo grabs him by his shirt and asks him to calm himself and think clearly. Jiro's army was likely massive. All over the world they were marching and taking over cities, and as far as he could tell there wasn't anywhere Jiro hadn't been watching. He'd soon come here, and that meant the room spared in time couldn't be counted on. The entrance couldn't be destroyed and they could be trapped inside of it. So Mr. Popo hugs Goku and gives him his last order. Go and find the ships that Vegeta and Nappa arrived to Earth on, and leave the planet. Go and live a peaceful life somewhere. He just wants Goku to go and live. Live and fight another day if you have to, but live for today. Raddatz wakes up when this is being said and hears Goku protesting. He clasps his hands together and gets up behind Goku and knocks him out. He then picks him up over his shoulder and genuinely thanks Popo for taking care of his brother. He climbs onto the carpet and has it send them to the city. Thankfully, the Red Ribbon hadn't reached it yet. Setting coordinates for where he plans to go, he throws Goku into Nappa's pod and climbs into Vegeta's. And then the two blast off into space. Back at the lookout, Mr. Popo and Ader watch as a large red-haired man flies onto the lookout. He gives the two a sinister look as he actually pulls his hands off and reveals himself to be a mechanical man. He then begins to charge a blast at his disconnected elbows. In the next second, the lookout and the land of corn will be completely evaporated, as Goku and Raddatz have fled from the Earth. Not long into their journey, Goku would wake up and argue with Raddatz. He would ask him what the hell he was doing, and Raddatz tells him to relax. He set a course to Piccolo's home planet, Planet Namek. He has an idea of how to fix everything. Goku asks him what it was, and Raddatz shudders as he answers, and tells him that they're going to make a deal with his old boss. With that, plus order fam, so we'll be leaving the timeline off for right now. Hey guys, we don't have a ton of time. This video is already longer than I wanted it to be, so first off, massive shout out to What If Universe for editing this video. This is the first time I've ever had an editor, so this is a pretty historic moment for me and the channel. Please be sure to check out his content and support him by subscribing to his channel, and definitely go follow him on Twitter. Great guy. Usual YouTube shilling stuff like comment, subscribe, like, all that stuff. If you're new from SmugStick's channel and you enjoyed this video, then please be sure to subscribe and become a member of the Plus Ultra fam as well. I'd love to have you be in both communities. And make sure you also go subscribe to Smug to see the exciting next installment of this story. We've had a lot of fun writing it, and the next parts are going to be really cool. Other than that, join Discord, follow on Twitter and Instagram to see cool stuff, and finally onto my amazing and lovely patrons. In Hero tier, Lone Bequaid, Zara Returns, Treb, and Stefan Consferent. In Z Warrior tier, Shannon Roberts. In Beyond tier, Knuckles OX, Don, and Robert Smith. And in Plus Ultra tier, DJ the Lazy Gamer. Love you guys so much. You do so much to support this channel, and I truly do appreciate you. With that out of the way, all that's left to say is always go beyond, plus ultra. See you guys next time.